And from the adaptation of BIM over the last 15 years, as you mentioned, when you originally set up your organization, have we really moved on?
Absolutely. So, I mean, life has moved on in you're carrying a phone with you. Like 15 years ago, you would have tried to find a coin and go to a coin phone. It's not actually a phone you're carrying around with you. It's a computer. You might use it as a phone. Yeah. So technology has moved on. It's fair to say that in the construction industry, compared to other industries, the adoption of technology has been slower, and that's been measured by companies like McKinsey, and so it's one of the worst sectors in terms of, it's not the worst, so the worst would be fishing. Board Ishkamara. But it has been slow, and there's probably a lot of reasons for that because of the fragmented nature of the sector, and this kind of misunderstanding of technology. It's funny that people in the industry will use technologies like smartphones and things for other aspects of their lives. Yeah. But when it comes to work, it's back to the old piece of paper. So it's a very primitive form of communication, the piece of paper. I mean, it's better than just talking because
no, indeed. And it's a bit contradictory, really, isn't it? Like that in your private life, you expect when you go home to turn on the TV that Netflix is there and you can select any movie now. Your phone, you have accessibility to absolutely all and every bit of information. But when it comes to the construction site, no. Here's my paper. Here's my specs document, my 500-page document. I'll email that PDF to you. Or here are the 1,500 drawings that you need to build my 3-dimensional building.
Yeah.
Like, that's just crazy.
It is crazy. And it's because people aren't thinking about communication. It's not, I mean, I'll even say as an architect, when you're doing your work as an architect, you're not really thinking about how the product of your work is going to be received. No. So in the communication, you've got an internal mode of, this is what we do. We produce plans, we produce elevations, we produce sections, we produce details, we produce schedules, we produce specifications. That's my job.
But the output is this, and I need to get as far as that, so I've completed my agreement.
So I can get paid, and whether you understand what I've produced is almost irrelevant. And the other thing about like traditional communication is it's very abstract. So if I'm describing a building to you in 2-dimensional drawings, you're only getting part of the picture, because if I draw a section through the building in one place, that doesn't describe the building. That only describes the building in one place.
Exactly.
And so there's a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication, and the result of all that misunderstanding and miscommunication is this back and forth, RFIs and delays and variations, and the result of all that is that building is slow, it's expensive,
and confrontational.
And it's not producing quick enough. Now, 10 years ago, that was probably fine. We could get away with that. But what's happening in the world now is the demand for infrastructure is increasing so rapidly. Like, even in my own lifetime, I know I'm old, but the world population has doubled. So we need more houses, more schools, more hospitals, more roads, more communication infrastructures, more energy production facilities than we've ever needed. And our industry, because it's so inefficient and slow, cannot deliver. And even in our own country, in Ireland, we would consider ourselves a first world country. Like, we don't have enough housing, we don't have enough schools, we don't have enough. So we think we're smart, but we're not. Like, we're not able. Our industry is not able to deliver on the needs, and so we have to rethink the way we do things. It's not a complete revolution. No. I mean, we still have to communicate. That's the ultimate thing. It's an
evolution rather than a revolution.
We have to take the technologies that are available to us. They're not, I mean, BIM is not new. It's been around. Like, we were doing this 15 years ago. So it's not, and in fact, BIM actually started in the 1970s. So it's not a new idea.
No, not at all.
It's a well-matured, well-developed idea. What's slow is the adoption of the idea. So people are persistently pursuing this sort of primitive form of communication, which is paper documents 2D. And 2-dimensional abstract views.
And it's disconnected, that 2D element of it. It's disconnected, and slow is probably another way of looking at it.
Well, a lot of people think it's faster. Like they say, well, I can draw a plan and an elevation and section a lot quicker than I can create a three-dimensional model. But you've only created a section in one instance. If you had to create enough sections to fully describe the building and enough elevations and enough plans, well, then it would be much faster just to do it once. Well, why do it 7 times? It's just, and also the production of schedules, like
door schedules,
doing that as
schedules.
a separate thing from so you put a door in a drawing, but then you have to put it again. You put it in a schedule again, and then you have to put it in the specification again.
And a bit of quantities.
Yeah. So you're describing the same door 6 or 7 times.
Yeah,
so
totally inefficient.
That's not an efficient way of working. We have the technology to describe the door once in BIM and put in that object everything you need to know about the door, who made it, what it costs, what the carbon count is, and so it's a smart object. And you just put that object in your project once,
and you've access to it.
And that's closer to real life, by the way, because there is only one door that you're putting into the real project. So it's a super efficient way. It's not slightly better. It's like super efficient. I mean, like the communication we're doing here. This is a good analogy, actually. Like we're communicating. I have some thoughts, and I'm creating sound waves through vocal cords. They're going over to you, and little bones are rattling in your head.
Lots of bones rattling in my head.
But that communication is happening. But now you have this device here, which is picking up the sound waves and recording it. So this conversation, which is between you and I, will suddenly be broadcast through social media and other things to thousands of people. So, and they don't even have to be present in the moment. They could listen to it at leisure.
It's a multiple output of a single activity.
Yeah, and that's the way to understand BIM. You create the information once, and you can get so many use cases out of it. Whereas the traditional way is
And one of the things for me on BIM is the idea that BIM is a technology. I hear this, and we talk about it an awful lot, and I know you do as well. That BIM is a technology, and BIM is not a technology; it's a process, in our opinion. You add technologies to the process to improve that delivery model.
That depends on your definition of a technology, because most people think a technology is a software, but it's not. It's a technology is a combination of software. I mean, your smartphone isn't one thing. The only reason your phone works is because the whole process of communication technologies, infrastructure, apps. So it's like you look at it and think, well, it's one thing, but it's not actually one thing. Like if it wouldn't exist, or it wouldn't function without electricity.
Similar to your building. At the end of the day, similar to your building, it's it's made up of components.
So you can't separate process and technology. Technology includes process, always does, always has. Technology also includes people, by the way. So, without people using and
inventing, for that matter.
There is no technology. So people, process, and software coming together.
The combination. So, like again, you mentioned you've been at this quite a while. How do you keep fighting the good fight towards pushing BIM as a way of working and a lifestyle within the construction industry?